And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Tiger Driver Radio. Only this time, it's a little bit different, guys. We are live for the first time in our podcast history. Live, Tiger Driver Radio. And I cannot forget, this is your main man, JP, alongside
Juicy J. Boom, boom, boom.
What's up, dude? What's going on, man?
What up, man? How's it going?
It's going, dude. I'm so stoked.
You ready for this?
Yes, I am ready for this, man. And I am so stoked that we're, for the longest time, we've always pre-recorded our episodes.
Yeah.
And then, we've edited, we've done our best to put together a pretty good, cohesive show for all of our listeners out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we've never done a live show. And then finally we decided, you know what? Let's put ourselves out there a little bit and let's go out on a limb and make complete jackasses of ourselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully not. I mean, hopefully this goes well. But hey, I mean, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be fun. We're going live on Podbean, so make sure you keep following us on Podbean, and you'll keep getting our updates that we're gonna be live.
Absolutely. And just to remind people out there, man, before we get further down the rabbit hole,
Mm-hmm.
anybody that's new and tuning in for the first time, where can they find us on social media?
On the social media, on Facebook, you can find us on Tiger Driver Radio, as well as on Instagram, and on Twitter, you can find us on Tiger Driver Rad One.
Awesome. Like I'm telling you, man, we are in such a beautiful time in terms of pro wrestling. And of course, here, if this is your first time listening, which I'm sure some of you, this is not your first time, but in case, we focus a lot on New Japan Pro Wrestling. Occasionally, we talk about the indies.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, dude, we have a lot to discuss. So much has happened over the past week. I'm excited. Man, the road to the Tokyo Dome come January for Wrestle Kingdom is looking as colorful and as exciting as ever. A lot of things that we said were going to happen did in fact happen.
Yeah.
And I am so excited to talk about it, man.
Man, it's going to be awesome. We have so much to talk about. Should we even start talking about Kishin Liger at this point?
You know what? Let's just hop into it right now. Let's go. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. And on that note, man, I will say that sorry, I had a little bit of a glitch, but the thing is that with Kishin Liger, like I said, we just finished and we just wrapped up the Destruction tour, and the last date was Destruction in Kobe. Also, Kobe, famous for its steaks. For those of you that are out in Japan, that want to go out to Japan, I recommend it. Anyhow, in Destruction in Kobe, man, what a show! And the thing is that for the longest time, if anybody is a pro wrestling fan, anybody can contribute. That anybody who's anybody in pro wrestling can never understate the importance of Jushin Thunder Liger. This year, he has announced his retirement, but en route to his retirement at Wrestle Kingdom in January, he has traveled the world. He has said his farewells. And one thing that people have constantly kind of been picking on is the fact that, is there a possibility that we're going to ever see Kishin Liger again? Now, for those of you who don't know who Kishin Liger is a character that has only made one appearance in New Japan Pro Wrestling back in 1996 against a much heated rivalry against the Great Muta. And with the Great Muta, against the Great Muta, it was a very bloody, very violent rivalry, but it saw a darker side of Jushin Thunder Liger, a very violent side of Jushin Thunder Liger. This past couple of months, there has been a build with Minoru Suzuki constantly testing and pushing and nagging and beating up Jushin Thunder Liger to the point where Liger is like, you know what, that's it. I don't want to. I can't take this anymore. And he, in fact, even threatened to retire even earlier than Wrestle Kingdom. And then it came to a point last week where Minoru Suzuki did beat him up,
Hmm.
took his mask, stole his mask, and Liger's like, you know what? That's it. You pushed me. You pushed me too far. I have no other choices. And tell me, what did you say last week when that happened to him? When he lost his mask? What did you tell me?
Yeah, he went up to the turnbuckle, and it was like he had a severed head in his mouth.
Oh, Minoru Suzuki.
Exactly. So it just looked like very graphic. It was just very surprising, and everybody was just in awe, and they didn't know how to react. And man, it's just Jushin Liger was like pissed off. Like, I need to do something about this.
Exactly. And we hinted at the fact that Kishin Liger might very well make a
Hmm.
comeback because he even said, you know what, don't piss me off. You piss me off. You push me hard enough.
Hmm.
I am going to do something that you're going to regret. And what happens this past week during a tag match, we saw Liger team up with, of course, Tanahashi,
Hmm.
as well as
Tanahashi
Taguchi, and of
and
course Tiger Mask,
Tiger Mask. Yeah.
of course against Minoru Suzuki's crew of Suzuki Gun.
Hmm.
In the middle of that match, pretty much the whole match was a street fight. Everybody spilled to the outside. A lot of street fights. A lot of people hitting each other with chairs.
Yeah.
In the middle of that, Suzuki tried to apply his rear naked choke. Liger hit him with the low blow, and then bam, hit him with the low blow, tore his mask off,
Hmm.
and bam, you see that scary face paint that was kind of dripping off of his face.
It looks really scary, man. I was
It
scared.
looked very scary.
I was
Absolutely.
legit scared. It looked freaky.
Yeah, it looked demonic, and
Yeah.
that was the purpose. And then he hits him with. Not only does he hit Minoru Suzuki with the black mist,
Uh-huh.
he hits other members of Suzuki Gun with the black mist. Even the referee,
The ref.
he even hits Tanahashi with the chair
Hmm.
to get him out of his way to chase Minoru Suzuki to the backstage area. Where later on, if you catch on YouTube, that he
Yeah.
went in and tried to beat up Minoru Suzuki a little bit more.
Hmm.
And this match has been set up to finally take place after pretty much nearly almost just a little slightly under a year of a build-up. Kishin Liger against Minoru Suzuki at King of Pro Wrestling
Hmm.
next month. We both personally thought that it was going to happen at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, we did. I said that he was going to take off his mask at Wrestle Kingdom, and then that was going to happen. And you said he was going to be coming up in Wrestle Kingdom, just
I thought
like
what was going to happen is that Minoru Suzuki versus Liger at Wrestle Kingdom in an MMA style shoot match,
Mhm.
just like they had years ago in Pancrase when Pancrase was still around.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that did not happen. But I am not going to complain to see Kishin Liger come back. Like I said, one of my favorite matches when it comes to Jushin Thunder Liger definitely has to be his match against the Great Muta as Kishin Liger. Very violent, awesome match. Definitely a different side to the performer of Jushin Liger. It wasn't about striking and it wasn't about high flying. It was just two people brawling, and I'm a big fan of guys who know how to brawl. And Liger definitely showed a different side to him in that rivalry, and he's going to show that side. I mean, hell, he almost even stabbed Minoru Suzuki with a ring spike and then through the table. The crowd would get gasped, like, "Holy shit!" Like he just stabbed through that damn table. I'm super excited about that. I am super excited about that.
But what's weird though is that, hey, you're putting him now in this next his next show, but what's gonna happen in Wrestle Kingdom, which we thought it was gonna happen there, right?
Yeah.
So who are you gonna put him against then?
I don't know.
Like that should have been his going away, right? Put him in a great match for going away in Wrestle Kingdom.
I would think so, but
Yeah.
maybe they're giving Liger the option to put someone else over. Maybe he'll fight for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title at this point.
Mhm.
Maybe he'll have a rematch against Suzuki in an MMA style match, or I don't know. Maybe the possibility of Liger going toe to toe with Tiger Mask one more time. I don't know. There's so many
That'll be cool.
possibilities.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen because the King of Pro Wrestling next month is already looking pretty damn stacked,
Mhm.
and I'm very excited. And speaking of excited, man, we also cannot understate the Young Lions Cup.
Man, it was awesome tournament.
Awesome tournament, and I will give kudos to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Unlike other promotions around the world, the one thing I really enjoy about young lions being featured in the capacity that they're featured is that while yes, they limit their move sets, they're not allowed to do certain moves. They have to master the basics and fundamentals. I think as performers in the ring, you can honestly tell that all Japanese wrestlers or anybody that's gone through the Japanese dojo system is a good worker or knows how to work. They're solid workers. Like you can't blame them for not knowing what to do in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely showcases that if you can master the fundamentals, you can master all other aspects of your wrestling game. And to finally see that this Young Lions Cup came back this year, and it pretty much featured everybody from the Tokyo Dojo to the LA Dojo, and then one graduate from the Fale Dojo in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool to see all these different young lions showcase the best of their abilities. And what the thing that happened was exactly what you and I said. In the final was Shota Umino, the shooter, if you will,
Shooter.
against Carl Fredericks, who in my opinion, in your opinion, is a bona fide star waiting to be made.
Yeah, it seems like he's gonna be like a Jay White kind of a maybe.
I don't even say Jay White. I think he has the potential to be somebody that is he. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. He has the physique. He has the in-ring ability. He has this natural charisma.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is going to be someone kind of like a young Randy Orton, comparably.
Yeah,
he is a young Randy Orton. Orton in his early days, I will say, was a guy that was somebody that you could not stop watching because he was so good at what he did. Even though he was very inexperienced, he was good at what he did. And I think Carl Fredericks has some of that same aura about him. Like he can definitely be someone that's extremely calculating, very charismatic, has the look, has the natural charisma. You can't deny the fact that he looks like a star.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have Shota Umino, who out of all the Japanese young lions, I feel stands out the most. Like you could tell he's packed on a lot of muscle.
Mm-hmm.
He's moving a lot better these days. And this Young Lions Final Cup, although it ended in submission with an extended half crab, Carl Fredericks hit on Umino and locked that in, and he locked that sucker in good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh shit! Like, is he gonna actually like rip his,
Yeah, because his knees were actually on the mat, and it was like a weird shape.
It was almost kind of like a lion tamer.
Yeah.
But a single crab version.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was like, man, this guy's gonna dislocate, Shota's hip out of the side.
Yeah.
He keeps yanking on that thing. But the cool thing is that like as I was watching that match, and you saw like a lot of the fundamentals, just this mastery of the fundamentals, you could tell that both these guys are definitely ready to go to that next level in their careers. And with, of course, and like I said, Umino is also a star as well. Like you can see that he is a star. He is going to be a star.
Yeah, he's exciting to watch all the time.
Exactly. Unfortunately, he lost against Carl Fredericks.
Yeah. But
in losing, backstage he announced that he has asked the New Japan office if he can finally be allowed to go on excursion.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I think at this point, there's nothing left for him to do in New Japan as a young lion.
Yeah. That makes me a little sad though, because then it maybe or kind of like a double-edged sword for me, because he's doing bigger and greater things, but now I'm not going to be able to see him anymore in New Japan.
Well, I mean, you might not be able to see him in New Japan, but it'll be interesting to see how. I mean, I assume that he'll probably be going to Revolution Pro.
Yeah.
Over in England.
Right.
Maybe work different indies in the UK as well, and I think that'll be a very good experience. Maybe he'll learn some catch wrestling, which will be awesome to learn that style as well. And then on top of that, after Carl Fredericks was presented the trophy, and Carl Fredericks backstage did thank his teacher, and in thanking his teacher and everything else like that, then Shibata was there, and Shibata said that this makes me very proud. It makes me very proud that one of my graduates won and was able to basically kind of, I guess, in a way,
like showcase
that me as vindicate. Pretty much vindicate his ability as a teacher, that yes, I did my job and I did it well. And to vindicate him, and not only to vindicate him, but to also showcase that Carl Fredericks is a star. But then you saw at the end that Ren Narita comes backstage and pretty much gets on his knees and pretty much says like, I want to learn under you, Shibata-san. Like, I really want to learn your style, and I think that's where I need to go. And Shibata's like, okay, come to LA, and it's not going to be easy. So right there, you basically see three different young lions who are moving on to the next phase of their career. With Umino going to the UK, Carl Fredericks winning the cup, and I'm pretty sure he's going to start developing more in Japan by wrestling more consistently in Japan instead of wrestling as an opener in a Ring of Honor show or wrestling small indie shows in America.
Yeah.
And then with Narita going to the dojo in LA, I'm pretty sure he's going to expand on his knowledge as a wrestler in America now, which will be very good for him. You know, in my opinion, I think the only thing Ren Narita is missing, he needs to put on size.
Yeah.
He's got to put on some muscle mass.
But maybe he's just going to want to focus on that junior heavyweight size. But
even as a junior heavyweight, I still think
needs a little bit more.
He needs a little bit more mass.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm not saying he needs to roid out and become Shingo Takagi. No. I'm just saying that I think he does need some size.
Yeah.
That would help.
Make him more presentable.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he's a little too skinny. I mean, we don't need another cheeseburger.
Yeah. Any of the other guys that kind of surprised you, or maybe you thought were interesting, like Suji or Clark Connors or Alex Coughlin?
I honestly think that Clark Connors is another star. I think Clark Connors and Alex Coughlin. Respect. By the way, shout out to Alex. He is from Long Island, my old neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, yeah. But I do think all three foreign young lions are stars as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as Yota Tsuji, I think he has like a roughness about him he reminds me of a young Togi Makabe.
Yeah.
He reminds me of a young Togi Makabe. He's aggressive. He's assertive in that ring. I just think what he needs at this point is that he needs more experience, but I don't think it's time for him to leave the dojo yet.
Yeah.
So I think all the lines have been impressive.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only one that I didn't think, the one that was a lackluster was Uemura. It seemed like he was not in his element during the tournament for some reason.
I also feel like Uemura is also the least experienced out of them all. So
yeah.
This is kind of, I guess, his first foray onto trying to present himself on a bigger stage.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of agree with you there, but I mean, he's also the least experienced out of all the lions, including the one who graduated from Fale Dojo, who was a well-known name in the New Zealand independent scene, but he decided to go through the Fale Dojo and then become a young lion himself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then it just, like I said, it just further reiterates that the future is looking bright. It's looking super bright. I am excited to see what the future holds. Like I said, if anybody who has decided to stop watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, you are doing yourself a disservice as a wrestling fan. Because the future is looking bright. And this Young Lions Cup just reiterated that.
It's going to be awesome in the future. Hey, but you know what? I just thought of something. They didn't send anyone to CMLL. That's surprising.
Maybe not yet.
Maybe it's another indicator that they're not going to work with them later.
Potentially. I don't know. And like I said, we can definitely talk about that a little bit later because I kind of know what you're hinting at in regards to New Japan's, I guess, slowly diminishing relationship with Ring of Honor and then CMLL, even though they did feature those wrestlers from those promotions in the Super J Cup most recently. But then, we'll have to wait and see. And then another thing about what happened over the course of this event in Destruction in Kobe is the fact that you saw Jay White actually take the Intercontinental title away from Naito. Which, wow. Like, I don't care what anybody says. I know there's been a lot of criticism there's been a lot of criticism about Jay White saying like, oh, he's only there because Omega left or he isn't as good as he says he is. I completely and wholeheartedly disagree. Jay White is as good as he says he is.
Man, Jay White, he's a man. I've been liking this guy for so long, and I was just happy he has an IC title now, man.
Yeah, and personally, I think at this point, Naito doesn't need the IC title anymore. I think he's proven his case enough times with the IC title. I think Naito still needs another run with the IWGP Heavyweight title. And Jay White is very young in his career still. I mean, he's only 26 years old. He's already an IWGP Heavyweight Champion, an already U.S. Champion, now Intercontinental Champion. I think that technically makes him a Triple Crown Champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling for singles titles. And he's done that within a span of just under 2 years, which is extremely impressive, considering that he just headlined Madison Square Garden this year. So Jay White has the mic skills, he has the charisma, he has the in-ring ability, and he's so good at playing a fucking heel. Like, it is so overstated that I don't understand why people are still on the I hate Jay White bandwagon. And the thing is, it's a difference between hating him because he's a heel versus hating him because you think he just flat out sucks, which I completely disagree. Like, I saw some fan online who basically went on a tirade saying that Jay White sucks and he has no charisma, just like Yoshihashi. And I'm like, whoa, time out. Like, that's
blasphemy.
That's blasphemous. That's totally fucking inaccurate. Wrong. Just fucking wrong. Like, that's just no. Like, there is no charisma in a guy like Yoshihashi, and then there's Jay White, who has the look, who has the appearance, who has the in-ring acumen. He is a legend in the making. I genuinely believe that. And regardless of the fact that if Omega left or not, I still think Jay White would have made his way somehow to the top. But it really also throws a little bit of a conundrum, a little bit of a
monkey wrench.
A little bit of a monkey wrench. Naito said that he wanted to be a double champion. Now he is no longer Intercontinental Champion.
I mean, people left the arena. I think everybody wanted that. I wanted that. People were leaving the arena when Jay White.
Yeah, even
pissed.
Yeah, people were genuinely pissed off, and even Jay White started yelling at parts of the crowd that were leaving in the back, saying like, "Where are you going? You're going home, really? Okay." And then I just love the fact that Jay White decided to troll the crowd even more by basically using Naito's catchphrases in Spanish, and then also, trying to basically emulate all of Naito's mannerisms to the crowd, but using Bullet Club names.
Oh yeah, he said "Nosotros Bullet Club for life."
Bullet Club for life, yeah. Or, he basically kept saying, "smile" in Japanese. And which is what he's been saying all along to Jay White during this whole tour.
Yeah.
So it just comes to show you that, like, Jay White is very in tune with the crowd. It knows how to work a crowd. And the fact that people are that pissed, you can't deny the fact that he's here. Because I think it's really, I know the Japanese crowds are very different from American wrestling crowds in terms of like getting organic heat. Getting organic. Because I feel like in America nowadays, when it comes to pro wrestling fans, in American wrestling, people like the bad guys. People like the heels. So, and a lot of times people hate corny babyface wrestlers or white meat baby faces. People don't like traditional baby faces typically. However, in Japanese wrestling, there is still heels and faces, and there's not a lot of in between. And in terms of just pure heels, Jay White knows exactly what he's doing, and it shows, and he's remarkable. I'm excited to see how this title run is going to work. Maybe he can hold on to this Intercontinental title a lot longer than just one defense.
But Goto challenging him recently? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, exactly. At the end, Goto came out, attacked him, challenged Jay White. And Goto has been kind of like, although he didn't quite, win the G1. I mean, obviously didn't quite. He flat out did not win the G1. He was still very impressive in the G1. Like, he was competitive. Like, he was within the top 3 or 4 guys at one point. So much so that you thought maybe Goto might have a chance at making it to the finals in the G1. Unfortunately, he did not. But he was very impressive. He's lost weight. He's moving a lot faster. He's wrestling a lot more of an aggressive style, which I'd love to see. And the fact that he's challenging Jay White, and he has beaten Jay White earlier this year once. Jay White also holds a victory over Goto as well. So it's going to be really interesting if Jay White's just going to lose after one title defense, which means he might be cursed. He'll win a title, but can't keep it. But I'm excited to see how that's going to go at King of Pro Wrestling when Goto challenges Jay White for that title, because I think Goto, from the G1 onwards, he's been kind of like on a slow elevation of his career. Like, he's kind of been improving.
Hmm.
And you can see how he's working in the ring, that he's definitely more aggressive, and you can't deny that he's gotten better.
Yeah. 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 I mean, what about this match he had with Shingo?
Oh, speaking of, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Hard hitting as hell, man. That was back and forth. Talk about the amount of stiff kicks and clotheslines in that match. Like, good God, it was fucking sickening.
Yeah.
Like Shingo with his ridiculous, pumping hammer clotheslines, and then Goto with those stick roundhouse kicks.
Hmm.
Like, I don't see how these guys haven't collapsed their lungs or broken in their chest cavities, man. It's just like, it was about as hard hitting as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it went it went at a decent length as well. I think it exceeded like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was actually 20 minutes and 27 seconds. So
Yeah,
it
was just like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It felt longer though, but not longer in a bad way. It was like, man, like this is really good. It was just like hard hitting. Exactly. This match reminded me so much of what stiff Japanese wrestling was in the 90s.
Hmm.
And even though, like I said, this is New Japan Pro Wrestling, and people often say that New Japan Pro Wrestling strong style is very much different from All Japan's King Road style.
Right.
Because King Road matches tend to be super long matches, where in New Japan the strong style was like hard, heavy, but fast in terms of Japanese wrestling. That means like 15 to 20 minutes. In American audiences, that's considered long. But in terms of Japan, and then King's Road style, you're used to seeing matches go on for 45, 50 minutes. But even though this match was only 20 minutes, it made me feel like I was watching Kobashi and Misawa. It was just two guys just hitting each other with everything that they had. And then Goto came out on top.
Yeah, if one of those guys would hit me with that, I'll break in half.
Oh, God, it was just, you can't deny how powerful those guys are, man. And like I said, I think Shingo at some point will hold on to a singles title within the next 6 months. Has to.
Yeah, but he keeps losing. Oh.
Like he said, I think he's on that cusp. Like he's right there. Like he has the ability to be a bona fide heavyweight star, but he hasn't quite. Like he'll win one, lose one, win one. He's like he goes back and forth. I just think it's just a matter of time before he starts getting on a consistent winning basis. He starts having a winning record. I think right now, like I said, he dominated the junior heavyweights a little bit. Mm-hmm. Even though I don't think he held the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, although I think he should have. But in my opinion, he belongs as a heavyweight. He just needs to find his groove, and then I think you'll start seeing him carry around gold.
Yeah, but all of LIJ though, they're doing good though. Evil is challenging Ibushi.
Exactly, which
Sonata,
which you will see, at King of Pro Wrestling next month.
Mm-hmm. Sonata is going after Okada. Although this kind of messes up going back to this, all of our double champion predictions we had, it completely destroys it because Goto's going out against Jay White, and more than likely he's not going to go back to the double champion storyline.
I don't know, but I somewhat disagree with you, because even when Goto came out and challenged Jay White, he says if anybody's going to be double champion, it's going to be me. Which means that now Goto is eyeballing trying to become double champion. Jay White has already made claims saying, I'm going to become double champion. Mm-hmm. Naito is kind of out of the picture right now, at least for the foreseeable future, up until, between now and January. Ibushi still has to defend his contract against Evil. And who's to say that Evil won't win it? You don't know that. Yeah. I don't foresee it happening, but you never know. I mean, that's the one beauty about pro wrestling, and especially in Japan and in Japanese wrestling.
Curveball, though.
It could curveball us, and then maybe you can get it back. We don't know. There's so many possibilities. And the fact that Evil is one of the few people during the G1 that pinned Ibushi, that right there shows you that anything is possible. I mean, Ibushi already had to defend against, Kenta, and Kenta came very close to pinning him several times in that match. I mean, granted, he lost, but still, that right there. Evil is challenging him. And then, of course, you have Ibushi that if he's able to keep up his winning streak between now and January, that means that he is going to headline Wrestle Kingdom next year. And from the sounds of it, with this whole narrative of the double champion being kind of on everyone's mind, it sounds like to me that whoever wins the first night, and I'm gonna assume that when it comes to the first night of Wrestle Kingdom, The Intercontinental Champion will defend night 1. Night 2
Yeah.
will be the IWGP Heavyweight title versus the Intercontinental title. So basically, the second night will be the unification of both. And with that being said, I personally still think Ibushi will headline both nights. I see Ibushi becoming double champion overall. Now, whoever ends up being his challengers
Mhm.
on both those nights, we'll see. I think it'll be Ibushi against Jay White night 1, night 2, Ibushi versus Okada, unless Sonata is able to pin Okada at King of Pro Wrestling next month. And you'll see basically, essentially, 3 new wrestlers headline the Tokyo Dome next year.
Yeah.
Which I think, in my opinion, to build star power and to
Yeah.
build a diverse star power, I think instead of relying on Tanahashi or relying on Okada, and not that I'm tired of Okada, I think Okada still has a lot of years ahead of him that, he's still very much in the prime of his career. I think just for the sake of building stars, you want to have other wrestlers headline the Tokyo Dome from here on out.
Yeah.
So
I love Okada, but it's already too much Okada a little bit.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Okada needs to take another back seat again.
Yeah.
This title run has been good, but I think, it's time to kind of give somebody else the rub and to build somebody else up. And I think in terms of other stars that are ready to kind of be built up into the next level, you have Jay White that you can build up as a foreign star.
Mhm.
And you can have finally Ibushi. And like I said, even though Ibushi looks young, he is older. He is 37 years old.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, that is the end of their prime, going into their downward spiral. Now, granted, I don't see Kota Ibushi losing any steam anytime soon. I mean, if anything, he's probably as good as he ever was.
Mhm.
Even, dare I say, even better than when he was wrestling, in DDT. And he had a lot of amazing matches during that time of his career. Especially that street fight that he had against Kenny Omega. I mean, that match nearly killed both of them. If you haven't watched it, go on YouTube and check it out because it was insane. But anyway, I digress. Is that I think the most important thing you have to concentrate on in terms of booking is that I know regardless, people want to see draw. You're going to have to book things in order to draw people to buy tickets for this.
Yeah.
But I think already, because it's a double night Tokyo Dome event. It's 2 nights. First time they've ever done this for Wrestle Kingdom. That's going to draw, a lot of intrigue and mystique. Also, the fact that you have Liger, who will have his retirement match. Irregardless, he will have his retirement match. That's historical because it can never be understated that Liger is by far one of the most influential wrestlers in the world to many people. And granted, maybe he doesn't have that same fame and notoriety as Dwayne Johnson or Stone Cold Steve Austin, but a lot of people know who Liger is at this point.
Yeah, he's still up there.
He's still up there. And his influence cannot be denied when you see other wrestlers in the world and how they wrestle.
Mhm.
I mean, how many people have modeled their style after the innovation of Liger, So, and the fact that you have that going on, and then you have, in my opinion, a very stacked roster, I think you're going to see a very awesome 2-day Wrestle Kingdom.
Mhm.
How they want to book it, it's up to them. I just think that this upcoming year, it doesn't need to be Okada headlining it. It doesn't need to be Tanahashi headlining. I think you need to put some new people to headline to build stars.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. And then maybe you don't even have to go that far. This King of Pro Wrestling lineup is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And then, like I said, as we look forward towards next month, we have Will Ospreay defending against El Phantasmo. Now, this match, of course, is Will Ospreay's second defense as the 85th champion. El Phantasmo, I mean, I can't deny that last week when Will Ospreay
and Robbie Eagles
the Birds of Prey, went up against Phantasmo and
Phantasmo and Ishimori.
Yes, exactly, Ishimori. Yeah. The fact is that match was one of the best tag team matches I've seen all year.
Yeah.
Damn good match. So, classic tag team wrestling. Mm-hmm. And it just further reiterates that what can't Will Ospreay do as a performer?
This guy could do anything.
He could do anything. He's a great single star. He's a great tag team wrestler. He's shown that he can hang with the heavyweights, and he's still defending as a junior heavyweight. Now, Will Ospreay against El Phantasmo, I am excited to see how this goes because this all ties into the fact that Robbie Eagles left Bullet Club, and Will Ospreay has taken Robbie Eagles under his wing yet again. So we'll see how this pans out. I personally am going to side with Will Ospreay on this one.
Yeah, I'm calling Osprey as well.
You know, dare I say, I'll make even another bolder prediction. Will Ospreay will continuously defend that title and keep beating challengers, and then finally for the retirement match, he'll have that against Liger.
Oh, snap.
Basically passing the torch as the standard bearer of junior heavyweight wrestling to Will Ospreay. Or maybe not. I don't know, because Will Ospreay has also stated that he wants to be a bona fide heavyweight when it's time.
Yeah. I'm going to predict something different.
Okay.
I'm going to say Himuro comes back and challenges Ospreay before Wrestle Kingdom and has a match at Wrestle Kingdom against Ospreay.
Or maybe he'll challenge Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom for who knows. Yeah. I think Hiromu Takahashi is due for a comeback, but it should not be overstated the fact that El Phantasmo is still a formidable challenge. Mm-hmm. And before he gets to the Tokyo Dome, you have to get through Phantasmo, who is a cheater, who will do everything in his power for gold. I mean, he's already draped in gold already. He already has, the British Junior Heavyweight title. He is still, IWGP Junior, one half of the IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions. And if he wins Ospreay's gold, that's 3 different titles across 2 different promotions.
Yeah, he's a good heel.
He's a good heel. He's a damn good heel. I don't fucking like him either.
Yeah.
I never forgot what he did to that special needs child in that crowd that one day. I never forgot that. So you know what? El Phantasmo, I hope you fucking lose. That's all I'm going to say.
Take that, El Phantasmo.
Exactly. And then up next, Jon Moxley against Juice Robinson for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship in a no DQ match at King of Pro Wrestling. This stems from the fact that Juice Robinson was finally able to pin Jon Moxley. And of course, they always say that in the G1 tournament, if you pin a champion, whatever champion that you pinned, you are destined for a match against him after the G1. Juice Robinson got his pinfall. He got his revenge against Moxley. Now we're going to see another no DQ match. So we'll have to wait and see how this pans out.
A lot of people think that he's just going to lose because AEW is going to start, so he has to lose. That's what everybody's on. It's on their mind.
Exactly. And who's to say that maybe Moxley will still win?
Yeah.
That Moxley will still hold that title. Because I personally think, and I know nothing official has been announced. Nothing is for sure right now. And like I said, on paper, everybody knows that New Japan Pro Wrestling is still in working agreements with both Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, be that as it may, I just have a strong feeling that the AEW New Japan working relationship is just a matter of time. Because there's still a loose enough clause in some of these performers' contracts from AEW that allow them to appear for New Japan Pro Wrestling, just not on American soil. That includes Jericho. That includes Moxley. We've yet to see it from Omega because I know there's still a lot of weird tension between Omega and the New Japan front office ever since he decided to leave. Because the fact of the matter is, New Japan Pro Wrestling did put a lot of stock into Omega to be the guy. A lot of stock. Basically, they made a title for him, the U.S. title. And they put a lot of stock into Omega as being the forefront of the guy that was going to bridge the East and the West to basically garner more interest for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
It worked.
And it worked. But now that he's gone, so are some of those fans that were casual New Japan Pro Wrestling fans.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, we'll see how it happens when Jon Moxley defends his title against Juice Robinson. And then, of course, Kota Ibushi will go against Evil, where he will defend his rights for the main event at Wrestle Kingdom. So if Evil wins, he gets the contract, and then he has the rights to the main event at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
But then that means Evil has to defend it. And then last, but certainly as hell not least, 2 wrestlers that I have always enjoyed watching whenever they're against each other. Kazuchika Okada, in his 4th defense, will defend against Sonata for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Now, Sonata did pin him with only, 20 seconds left?
Yeah, it was close.
It was very close. Only during the G1, like I said, G1, you're only allowed 30 minutes per match. If you exceed that, it's an automatic draw. But the fact of the matter is that Sonata, after 7 encounters, was finally able to pin Okada that means he gets a title shot. Now, whether Sonata pins Okada, I don't know. I have a feeling that he might not, but you never know. They could throw a
He has to.
curveball.
He has to.
I feel like
At this point.
Sonata is on such a hot streak, and
Yeah.
not to mention when it comes to newer stars as well, when it comes to guys that are pretty much right there getting ready to break through to that permanent main event status, Sonata is right there.
Yeah.
Like, Sonata is ready to be pushed. And I think now is the time because he is white hot right now.
And I'm saying he has to because in the recent matches that the tag team matches, 3-way, 4-ways, Okada has been kind of messing up. I mean, he's so a savant in the ring that it's hard for him to mess up or botch, however you want to call it. But recently, he even hasn't been able to hit drop kicks on Sonata. It seems like they keep hinting on the fact that he might mess up somehow in this match.
That basically Okada will cost himself the match.
Yeah.
I agree because, like I said, Sonata. Every time you see Sonata and Okada wrestle, all 7 times, Sonata has always made a mistake that has cost him the match.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a matter of somebody dominating over the other guy and then eventually it's a 1-2-3 or a tap out. Sonata will do something like he'll miss a moonsault or he'll miss, doing the skull end, and then Okada will find a way to counter it and then boom 1-2-3. Like Sonata's always done something. Like basically he underestimates a situation. And finally, Sonata did not try to be flashy in his last match against Okada. He held on. He held to the skull end for almost 3 minutes. And then finally, when Okada was definitely passed out, hit the moonsault, not once, but twice, and then pinned Okada. Now, we'll see if that translates to gold. I'm excited about it, but we'll have to wait and see. And on that note, we have that's coming next month, but it should not be ignored that this weekend in New York, Fighting Spirit Unleashed in America, Friday, September 27th in Massachusetts at Lowell Memorial Auditorium. I've been to a lot of punk shows in Massachusetts, especially in Worcester and in Lowell. So a lot of good memories in that town. Should be an awesome time. Saturday, September 28th at the Hammerstein Ballroom in my home, New York City, downtown Manhattan, across the street from Madison Square Garden, Fighting Spirit Unleashed. I'm excited to see what's going to transpire. What I really think is interesting about this tour is that the Rock and Roll Express are involved.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sunday, September 29th at the 2300 Arena. And if you don't know what the 2300 Arena is, you're not a real wrestling fan. Go educate yourself. That is the ECW Arena. ECW. Exactly.
Going back to this New York one, this is the one that's the only one that's going to be live, right?
And unfortunately, the only one that's going to be broadcast live is going to be the Hammerstein Ballroom one, which should be an explosive crowd. Yeah. In fact, though, I wish in terms of this lineup that they were going to actually feature the Rock and Roll Express against,
I think it was Owens, right?
Yeah, against Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale. Unfortunately, that match will not take place on that night. Instead, it will, of course, be the Rock and Roll Express and Hiroshi Tanahashi against Bushi, Shingo Takagi, and Tetsuya Naito. Should be interesting. Yeah. Irregardless, like I said, the fact that Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton, being as old as they are, I mean, they're in their late 60s at this point, and they can still move. Like, surprisingly, and they're still doing suicide dives and Hurricane Ranas. Like, people often say, okay, it's kind of a gimmick, it's cheesy, but the fact of the matter is that there are certain wrestlers that don't need to wrestle past a certain age. Like you can tell, okay, stop wrestling, dude. Like some people stay past their welcome. And maybe look at PCO. Yeah. The guy's in his early 50s, and granted, he's doing a lot of crazy things that I don't necessarily agree with. But the fact is that he's had a career renaissance in his 50s after pretty much being forgotten into obscurity in the 90s as being a tag team wrestler. And then now you have the Rock and Roll Express. Now, granted, they are way past their prime. Maybe to some people, it's not funny. It's not cool to see these old timers wrestle in the ring, but you can't fucking deny at the end of the day that Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton, who are pretty much the innovators of classic and great tag team wrestling, like a lot of people's moves, how they move, how they basically incorporate their style of wrestling has been modeled after these two guys. It's really cool to see them still be able to perform to such a level to where they might not be the most winningest. They're not that championship team they were in the 80s when they were competing in Smoky Mountain and
and competing in the NWA. But the fact is that it's still going to be awesome to see these guys team up with Hiroshi Tanahashi. I'm going to call it right now because it's the Rock and Roll Express and Hiroshi Tanahashi. There's going to be a lot of air guitars. It's going to be a lot of air guitars, dude.
And I want to see that. That's going to be the highlight for that night for me.
Absolutely. And with that being said, another thing that I'm really excited to see is that Ren Narita is going to wrestle against TJ Perkins on the opening match of that night, which, like I said,
With our buddy TJ?
with our buddy TJP. Shout out to TJP. TJP, like I said, for those of you who don't know, he was also a big part of the Cruiserweight Classic and 205 Live up until last year.
Yeah.
But TJP has been doing a lot of great things. And the fact is that I think seeing a guy like TJP go up against a young lion like Ren Narita will probably lose. Flat out. TJP is an amazing talent, but I think this is going to be the start of seeing Ren Narita develop himself as a more full-fledged wrestler. Because I think this will be technically his beginning
going
of
away.
this will be the first match of his excursion against TJP. So he's definitely in for it. And then another thing that I'm interested to see is that the fact that now Carl Fredericks is going to go up against Lance Archer.
Wow. That's like
That's a big fucking test, dude. Big fucking test. You are in for an ass beating. Regardless if you win that match, you're gonna get your ass beat.
This is gonna let us know if he in fact has that it factor that we're looking for now. In my opinion.
Yeah, if does he have that killer instinct to go against a guy like Lance Archer? Does he have that it factor? Because the thing is, if you can win over a New York City crowd, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah,
I genuinely believe that the harshest crowds in America have always been Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York. And if Carl Fredericks can win over that crowd, and on top of that, be able to survive and go toe to toe with a guy like Lance Archer, then he definitely has what it takes. This is going to be a test for him, and I'm excited as well. Not to mention we'll also see other young lions, Alex Coughlin and Clark Connors against Mikey Nichols and Juice Robinson.
Hey, Mikey Nichols hasn't shown up in a while.
Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to see him come back.
Yeah.
Roppongi 3K and Rocky Romero against God and Jado. And then, of course, I'm excited to see Amazing Red come back to a New Japan ring. Team up with Tomohiro Ishii and Goto against Jay White, Chase Owens, and Gato. And, of course, the Never Openweight Championship will be Kenta against Yoshihashi. Kenta's going to win. We don't even need to discuss this. It's a fucking wash. You're getting washed, bro.
$20 Yoshihashi wins.
$20 Yoshihashi fucking loses, and I hope he gets knocked out. God, he sucks. Did I say that he sucks? Because he sucks.
You hate him so much.
Oh, by the way, you know what else I wanted to mention, dude?
Yeah.
Yoshihashi sucks. Yeah, man. And then this next match, which it has to be the main event because Yoshihashi sucks, is no, I'm kidding. And then in the main event, you have Kota Ibushi and Okada against Evil and Sonata. Now, I much would have rather preferred a singles match in this card. It would have been kind of cool to see an IWGP heavyweight title defense in Hammerstein Ballroom. That would have been historical. But no less, a lot of people say they're underwhelmed with the card. I think it's a fantastic card.
I like it.
I think it's going to be a fantastic card and a fantastic weekend of wrestling. If, in fact, you did not get your tickets, go get it if it's not sold out. I believe 2 out of the 3 shows are sold out. That being the ECW Arena in New York, and Boston, maybe a couple more tickets left. But anyway, if you are not watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, you are doing yourself a disservice. Go watch it. Lots of amazing action, man.
Including Amazing Red.
Like I said, I'm so glad that Amazing Red is kind of... Have you noticed that Amazing Red has started to get a lot of props lately? A lot more than he used to?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are finally paying respect and tribute. Because the fact is, you watch anybody who's a high flyer or a hybrid type wrestler, you owe that to a guy like Amazing Red. Because Amazing Red could do it all. And, granted, he was kind of part of that whole early phase of TNA back in the day, and that's where he was known. But the fact is that Amazing Red is an innovator, much like Liger. And I'm glad to see that a Red, even though, like I said, Red is not old, but the thing is, he does focus on a lot on training other wrestlers out in Queens and I think it's out in Brooklyn. For House of Glory, wrestling. But the fact is, I see a lot of people nowadays being a lot more vocal about their respect and admiration and how Amazing Red has influenced him. And the fact that you're seeing Amazing Red wrestle in a New Japan ring is just awesome.
Yes, sir. And we're going to cover this next week. We're going to be here live again. We're going to cover Fighting Spirit Unleashed for you guys.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited. I'm stoked. Now, like I said, man, if you want to catch us, you can catch us. I mean, like I said, before we go off the air, I just want to remind everybody, you can still catch us on all your favorite formats for the podcast. You can still catch us on YouTube. You can still catch us on Spotify. You can still catch us on Apple Music. But from now on, and maybe for the foreseeable future, we are going to try our best to go live on Podbean Live from here on out. So if you don't know, now you know. Tell your friends, tell your mom.
Yeah,
you know, and
just
just
hit us up with questions. I mean, you can send us messages on here. You can do it now. You can call us. You'll be on our show live.
exactly. Don't be
Uh,
shy. Don't be a bitch. Just call in. Be a part of the community. Don't be a hipster.
Hey, if you like us, send us pod points. Definitely do that.
Yeah. See, please send us pod points, or you can just send us money in PayPal, so I can buy more wrestling tickets for more wrestling shows for better coverage. You're welcome.
For better interviews.
For better interviews, absolutely. And we got some things that we're working on in the near future, guys. But just remind the crowd out there, man. Remind the Tiger Driver Army. Where can they find us?
Facebook, Instagram on Tiger Driver Radio, on Twitter, Tiger Driver Rad1, or email us at tigerdriverradio@gmail.com.
Exactly, man. And on that note, everybody, have a lovely day and enjoy pro wrestling. This is your man, JP. Peace.
Adios.